On behalf of the class of 2011, I'm honored to present Professors Francis Fry, Stephen Kaufman, Anita Alberti, Deepak Malhotra, and Paul Marshall with the class of 2011 Faculty Awards for their outstanding contributions during our time in HBS. Shepherding a classroom full of HBS students is not an easy task, and these instructors have differentiated themselves as the most admired among an already distinguished set of one of the world's most remarkable faculties. The MBA experience is a fast-paced learning environment in which students are focused on developing and contributing to a variety of interests. In a vote by the class of 2011, 5 professors were recognized for their excellence and dedication to teaching. They have positively affected the learning of students, and we take the time here today to recognize their efforts. Students identified these 5 professors as those who have enhanced the learning experience by best demonstrating the following 6 criteria. Inspiration. They transfer a passion for the subject matter to students. Knowledge transfer. They make difficult course material accessible to all students through clear explanations and demonstrated relevance. Accessibility. They make themselves available to students outside the classroom, personally and professionally. Career guidance. They help to identify industry contacts and evaluate potential career opportunities. Quality of life. They help to improve the quality of life on campus. And finally, feedback. They provide feedback that contributes to professional and personal development. At this time, I would like to ask Francis Fry, Chair, MBA Required Curriculum, and Professor of Technology and Operations Management to the class of 2011, Section J, to step forward. Professor Fry, you are, as one student put it, a role model to all. Another commented, she is wise, humble and blunt, epitomizing high standards and deep devotion. Professor, your approach to teaching inspires your students to set higher standards for themselves individually and collectively. Your students comment that while the operations knowledge you taught them might fade over time, the leadership and values you imparted on them will endure forever. You instilled a belief that, as leaders, we have an obligation to help others no matter what industry we choose. Your impact is felt long after the end of the first term of the RC year. You are, and I quote, an inspiration. Professor Francis Fry, it is my honor, on behalf of the class of 2011, to present you with the class of 2011 Faculty Award. At this time, I would like to ask Stephen Kaufman, Senior Lecturer of Technology and Operations Management to the class of 2011, Section C, to step forward. Senior Lecturer Kaufman, whether you were throwing cranberries across the room in your wading pants or role-playing with different hats, literally, you brought operations to life. As you often said to your students, you wanted them to understand the importance of getting, quote, down from the ivory tower and onto the factory floor. You were demanding. You expected your class to be well prepared and pushed them to look beyond the answer to the actual reality of implementing changes. Furthermore, you shared your own experience from both your personal and professional lives, and you shared examples of your own failure so that your students would not make similar mistakes. Most importantly, however, you cared deeply about each student, and that care and consideration showed every day you spent with your section. Senior Lecturer Stephen Kaufman, it is my honor, on behalf of the class of 2011, to present you with the class of 2011 Faculty Award. Thank you so much. At this time, I would like to ask Anita Alberti, Associate Professor of Marketing to the class of 2011, to please step forward. Associate Professor Alberti, according to your students, you are, and I quote, the most empathetic and compassionate person at HBS. You have shown that you care deeply about the future of your students in unconventional but memorable ways. You expose your students to the complexities of industries and business models that at first were difficult to understand, and then broke down problems into easily digestible concepts that were, and I quote, mind-blowing. You did this all in the span of 80 minutes, and with the energy and flair of the rock stars you discuss in class. On top of all this, you volunteer your time to mentor students despite your extremely demanding schedule. According to one, if Steven Tyler could be a professor, then that professor would be Anita Alberti. Associate Professor Anita Alberti, it is my honor, on behalf of the class of 2011, to present you with the class of 2011 Faculty Award. At this time, I would like to ask Deepak Malhotra, Associate Professor of Negotiation, Organization, and Markets to the class of 2011 to step forward. Associate Professor Malhotra, you care deeply about your students, treating them as colleagues and friends rather than as students in the traditional sense. You engage them inside and outside of the classroom, challenging them to think big, be compassionate, and use the power of their HBS educations to unlock value for others. You taught your students to think about disagreements from the other side's perspectives, be happy with what they have been given, and that confidence is saying, I can do it, while arrogance is saying, only I can do it. More than that, you gave great life advice that applied far beyond the boundaries of the negotiations curriculum, and you showed thoughtfulness by checking in with your 180 students and individually asking about their well-being. According to your students, the lessons you taught them were among the most powerful they learned while at HBS. Associate Professor Deepak Malhotra, it is my honor on behalf of the class of 2011 to present you with the class of 2011 Faculty Award. Thank you so much. One more. At this time, I'd like to ask Paul Marshall, Professor of Management Practice of Entrepreneurial Management, to step forward. Professor of Management Practice Marshall, you were, as one put it, a fireball in class who never failed to impart practical wisdom and entertain at the same time. Students appreciate your direct, no-nonsense approach to teaching and the high standards you set for them. You pushed them to consider the real-world repercussions of their action plans and did not let them get away with standard MBA jargon. One student commented, during a case about family business, a fellow student threw in a chip shot, suggesting that the protagonist, quote, align incentives to make the board more effective. Apparently you, and I quote, turned purple. Passionately asking the student, how does your mom make you do things? Your response, and one to which we can all relate, out of guilt, how you ever tried to align your family. You are funny, relatable, and action-oriented. And, most importantly, you made your students excited to go to class. Professor of Management Practice, Paul Marshall, it is my honor on behalf of the class of 2011 to present you with the class of 2011 Faculty Award. Thank Today, we acknowledge the extraordinary accomplishments of these 5 members of the HBS faculty. This year, 218 faculty and 1,087 staff members worked tirelessly to advance the practice of general management and prepare students to be thoughtful and effective leaders. Each has impacted the class of 2000 directly, and we thank them for their efforts. Please join me in recognizing the accomplishments of these 5 individuals and of the entire HBS faculty and staff.